the facts on how vitamin C works. Quite simply, quite elegantly, all infections do their damage with what's called oxidative stress or electron theft, electron robbery. And the laboratory tests show this. All toxins, in the same fashion, cause all their damage by electron theft. Vitamin C, as an antioxidant, its ultimate task is to contribute electrons. And it's really that simple. So if you have something, an electron source, that can go in and immediately replace the electrons that were taken away by your toxins, by your infections, you repair the tissue damage and you prevent more. It's that simple. I already knew that vitamin C, if you gave a large intravenous drip, could neutralize virtually any toxin imaginable. No matter what the toxin was: snake bite, barbiturates, mercury, antimicrobial, antiviral. Dr. Frederick Klenner, in 1949, cured 60 out of 60 cases of polio, 100% of the time. In point of fact, vitamin C has and routinely, completely and totally cures acute hepatitis in 7 to 10 days. Dr. Klenner routinely took cases of viral encephalitis where the patients had already progressed to a complete coma, and not only cured them, but brought them back to consciousness, usually between 12 and 24 hours after initiating the high-dose vitamin C. Vitamin C is an absolute virucide. Some patients would stand by, some physicians would stand by and see their patients die rather than use ascorbic acid because in their finite minds it exists only as a vitamin. Vitamin C should, that's my emphasis, be given to the patient while the doctors ponder the diagnosis. And in fact, this is no joke, in Dr. Klenner's office in Reidsville, North Carolina, his nurses were instructed when any patient came in to hook them up to the vitamin C first before they even called them. Vitamin C is the ultimate antitoxin. Vitamin C and a couple other antioxidants, in this case alpha-lipoic acid and acetylcysteine, cured toxic mushroom poisoning. It cured toxic mushroom poisoning, but there's not a poison center on the planet that uses them. Tell me why. In 2 of 2 cases of West Nile disease, he and the other patient, again, were completely well in 3 days. A young teenager, I believe 15-year-old girl, developed dengue fever. Using only oral liposome encapsulated vitamin C, she was completely cured in 3 days, with a total of about 10 grams of vitamin C by this application. That's about $10 worth of vitamin C. Now, vitamin C exerts anti-cancer activity both in the test tube and in the body. 7 advanced cancer case reports successfully treated with IV vitamin C. In this case, it was very clear that the highest plasma levels of vitamin C were associated with the least mortality from heart disease, including cancer. That high plasma vitamin C levels were clearly associated with a lower risk of coronary artery disease. That all of those factors ultimately come down to the final common denominator of a focal vitamin C deficiency in the coronary arterial wall. It's really that simple. Higher plasma levels of vitamin C are, again, inversely associated with a lower incidence of diabetes. So when you start having chronically lowered levels of vitamin C in your blood, more glucose is unable to get in. Follow this. The intake of high doses of vitamin C does not increase the risk of calcium oxalate kidney stones. In fact, the members of the group that they examined with the highest vitamin C intake had a lower risk of kidney stones than those with the lowest intake. Vitamin C, and I don't know how many other substances you can say this about, has no known definable toxic dose. How many antibiotics, anti-inflammatory agents, calcium inhibitors, any type of prescription drug you can think of, can you say there's no known toxic dose? You just can take as much as you want of it, and you're not going to hurt yourself. Medicine, modern medicine, through the popular press, through the scientific literature, they just lie.